Well, yes, the universe is expanding. And our scientists at present say at an increasing rate. That's odd. Explosions aren't usually like that. They're expanding but at a decreasing rate, and in the end the explosion is over. But this one is... I hope eternity is rather large. Well, in my limited view of things. Else, what happens when you reach the boundary? And what is the boundary, and what's beyond the boundary, of course? Not only that, but let me say to you that if it's expanding at an ever-increasing rate, and there's no reason to suppose it is just because it's expanding at an increasing rate at the minute, doesn't mean to say it will be for the rest of eternity. But if it has been for a long time, our rate of expansion at the minute might be more like an explosion as regards velocity, present velocity, than simply unemotively labeling it as an expansion. We could be on the crest of the most incredible explosion, and if it applies to all matter, not just interstellar collective objects like stars and galaxies, but if it applies to all matter, for instance, even our body, the molecules that we're made of, if space is expanding at an ever-increasing rate, whether it's interstellar or micro-atomic particles, then we have a simplified view of what gravity is. It's simply the fact that the planet we're on is expanding at such a rate, we're pinned to it. And bigger planets are expanding at a bigger rate because there's more. Well, even matter is mostly space, isn't it? Expanding. In fact, it crosses my mind even more complexly that the matter itself, not being anything like as solid as we think and material, may also be expanding. That expansion, growth, is what God is. Creativity. I mean, look, I'm way beyond my boundary now. I'm not saying these ideas are reliable, I'm just saying they are ideas. We might be nearer a unified field theory than we ever dreamt. That we are it, in fact. And that's what the oneness of God is, and creativity. And somehow time is in there too, isn't it? Einstein had the notion perhaps time slows as you increase speed. They're all interrelated. And it's the all interrelated, the unified part that we're drawn to imaginatively. I don't think we can understand time except we understand what time is in. we see it as in terms of relationships of bodies changing, but we've no understanding of what change is, only that how it presents. I mean, a simple thing is that time is only intelligible by thought. Everything only intelligible by thought, to the extent that at some level we might say that it's all thought, all the matter around us and time and everything else, and that we ourselves. We're only pushing a frontier, a boundary in saying this. We've still got to say, well, what is thought, especially if, in some sense, what is the substance of thought? We think of it in terms of the presenting body thinking. But that's just to say we think of it in terms of itself. And of course the very fact that we're thinking is thought. We're in an astonishing circularity from which all we suspect is we don't understand. We have a notion of understanding and a notion that perhaps we don't understand. Now you would think that negates itself, wouldn't you? Look, I take refuge in the hope that we don't need to know. And if it needs to be known, we'll trust that God knows it. And that's all we need to know. Why do we choose this? Because it's hopeless if we choose anything else, and we need hope to live, and we're addicted to living. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.